Okay, guys, so I think the title of today's video sums it up perfectly. Flat Earther Kyrie Irving apologizes to science for being curious. So Kyrie Irving made some waves like a year or 2 years ago when he came out and said he thinks the earth might be flat. And all these the pro-science and the skeptics crapped their effing pants. What's up, Karen? They crapped their effing pants because a mainstream celebrity NBA star would dare come out and question the biggest consensus of them all. And so now Kyrie Irving has sadly and unfortunately appears to be stepping back his stance on the flat earth. Because it's the safe and it's the easy thing to do when the consensus cult of scientism is breathing down your neck and threatening to destroy your life. You're going to be surprised by what Kyrie ends up saying in this interview. You're going to be surprised what Kyrie Irving ends up saying. He basically ends up saying, yeah, a bunch of science teachers bullied me into shutting up about flat earth. So where do you see this? Yes. What's up, Alan? Venom Akuma says the bully cult of scientism. That's literally what it is. It's a bully cult. And the thing is that they operate through consensus. All right. Okay. We'll get into that. Let me get into this thing here. All right. I'm doing my little thing here. My usual fucking rigged. Hang on. Let's try this. That's not going to work. We're going to do it like this. All right. So, listen.
You weren't joking. So which is it? Which side are you on? Well, hopefully after this, I'm done with this. Good. Let's clear it up for good. You never have to ask again. You were going to ask me regardless, but I think.
So he basically says, hopefully after this, people are going to stop asking me. And obviously, he's pretty annoyed by the questions in general. He's tired of being asked it because it's a big deal. It's a big deal to come out and say we've been lied to about the fundamental nature of our reality. So the poor guy is sick of it, and he probably regrets speaking his mind. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to have diverse opinions in this liberal scientism, Orwellian nightmare. People having their own opinions is not tolerated. If you say, maybe we don't know everything about the solar system and maybe we got the shape of the earth wrong, you're not just allowed to have the opinion. You're attacked, you're bullied, you're shamed, okay? People will say, but you're attacking science. Science is going to suffer. If you question the shape of the earth, what about science? Science has almost been anthropomorphized into like this living, breathing little baby boy or something. And we all have to be so careful about science. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Science is about questioning things. It's about inquisitiveness. It's about an inquiring mind. It's not rocket science. Well, it is rocket science. But to do a play on words, it's not rocket science, guys. It's simple. Let people have their own fucking opinions. Imagine that. An NBA star, all right? An NBA star. He's got all this money and wealth. You'd think he would be just so confident in his views. You think he'd have all this confidence and nothing could get in between him and what he believes. And even then, even Kyrie Irving is left handicapped, legs chopped off, because he comes out and questions current scientific consensus.
You're joking, and then you weren't joking. So which is it? Which side are you on? Well, hopefully after this, I'm done with this. Good. Let's clear it up for good. Regardless, but I think what you say and what you do and how you mean it. At the time, I was like huge in conspiracies, and everybody's been there. telling all your friends, like, yo, did you see that? Did you watch this video? I'm telling you.
So Kyrie Irving has just said right there that he got into flat Earth because he went down a YouTube rabbit hole. That's how Kyrie Irving got into flat Earth. He went down a YouTube rabbit hole, clicking button and video after video after video, and that's how he got sucked into it. He had a curious thirst to learn about the nature of his world. You know, there's a reason conspiracy videos are so damn popular on YouTube. There's a reason that Kyrie Irving, you know, professional athlete, you'd think he's got more important shit to do than just scroll around looking for conspiracy YouTube videos on YouTube. But even he has that thirst for knowledge. And I don't think people have the thirst for knowledge because they're just bored and need something to occupy their time. Like, that might be some of it. But I think it's because we can sense intuitively that there's something wrong with the system. Something is glitched with the matrix. There's an issue somewhere in the matrix. So Kyrie Irving continues, and let me just double check this right here. Yeah, let me just click escape and then fast forward. So again, so let's go back and play that.
What's going on, bro? You know, like you click a YouTube click and it goes like how deep the rabbit hole goes. It's like, yo, you start telling all your friends, like, yo, did you see that? Did you watch this video? I'm telling you, you know, at the time.
I got brainwashed in public school, had no interest in learning any of that dumb, boring bullshit they taught me about the nature of reality. And then I got lost on a YouTube binge, and that's the most interesting thing I've ever seen in my life. You can trust people's intuition. There's a reason people find your average science class miserably boring, and there's a reason why Kyrie Irving and most people will get lost on a never-ending YouTube clickbait rabbit hole rabbit trail. Because people know what's actually interesting at an intuitive level.
What's going on with our world? What's going on with our world? You know, like you click a YouTube click and it goes like how deep the rabbit hole goes. It's like, yo, you start telling all your friends, like, yo, did you see that? Did you watch this video? I'm telling you. You know, at the time, it's like, you're like innocent in it, but you realize the effect of power of voice.
So now he's giving the usual PR apology. I'm a celebrity and my voice has an impact, so I gotta be careful with what I say, which is true. There's a grain of truth to that. You know, maybe when you have millions of followers, you can't be saying the earth is flat because, you know, the average young kid who looks up to you is gonna go give their science teacher a major fucking headache. Because now the science teacher has to explain to them why the earth is not flat. Then again, that is your job, science teacher. So you should look forward to the opportunity to students asking you inquisitive and skeptical questions. You should look forward to that. But a lot of teachers don't look forward to it because a lot of them are just there for a paycheck. Sadly, it's true. Yeah, it's true. They don't care about their students. Yeah. Sorry. They don't care about their students. They're just there for a paycheck. They're not there to have to try to reinvent the wheel on why we think the earth is a globe. We just want to believe it based on faith because it's been passed down from generation to generation like a freaking urban legend or something. That's the nature of the school system, unfortunately, for everybody watching. I appreciate it. I'd probably get more live viewers if I posted this to BitChute live. Can't wait till BitChute gets its live stream. But for everybody who made it through the YouTube censorship, thank you. As you can tell, I'm pretty annoyed about the YouTube censorship. It's getting ridiculous. It's like getting throttled. It's like Susan Wojcicki and YouTube. It's like they got their hands around your neck and they're just strangling you. But it's okay. So that's what we're dealing with. And I'm going to make that point in a little bit. Let's get back to it. Kyrie Irving backtracks on flat earth and apologizes to science. Now, this is huge. This is huge what he says right here. He basically says, Even if you believe in something, you should really watch what you say because you have a powerful platform if you're a celebrity. So even if you believe it at the deep down heart core of your being, you should really, not say anything. You really shouldn't say it. See, this is what you call corporate cowardice. And it's no offense to Kyrie Irving because I know he's probably a flat earther deep down, but when Colin Kaepernick comes out and he kneels because he's standing up and he's fighting the power and he's saying something really bold and he's saying something that you're not supposed to say. You're an oppressed black man and you're not supposed to stand up and fight the system of white supremacy or whatever kind of bullshit that they say. Colin Kaepernick gets a big establishment pat on the head, pat on the back for standing up and voicing an unpopular opinion. Black people are oppressed in America, which is a total statistical hoax and a lie. Go ask Kanye. It's bullshit. It's absolute horseshit. So it's funny how the Colin Kaepernick, he's allowed to stand up and say unpopular shit. And the establishment gives him a big round of applause. But when Kyrie Irving stands up and questions the bully cult of scientism, he has to shut up because you shouldn't stand strong for your opinions. You shouldn't stand up and really assert your opinions because that's dangerous because I have a platform. You see the double standard. It really quickly and simply exposes which truths are sanctioned by the establishment and which ones aren't. Being a fake victim, black guy, claiming you're oppressed by white people in a majority white country, even though the continent with the highest incidence of slavery to this day is fucking Africa. All right? That fake victim bullshit, that gets a pat and a free pass from the establishment. Kyrie Irving questioning the shape of the earth. The mainstream journalist hacks swarm in like vultures to desecrate his corpse. So let's keep watching.
And at the time, it was like, you're like innocent in it, but you realize the effect of power of voice. And even if you believe in that, it's like, just...
Wait a minute. Even if you believe in that, isn't that the whole story of corporate approved Colin Kaepernick, who's, just got his endorsement deal with Nike? Isn't that the whole message? Athletes should stand up and stand strong about what they believe in, even if it's unpopular. Colin Kaepernick got a deal with Nike for fighting the power, even though he's just a shill for the white liberal establishment. I mean, if you didn't know that, guys, if some of you guys watch my videos more for the flat earth stuff and not for my political stuff, if you didn't know, breaking news, this whole racism is epidemic in America bullshit, that's actually a lie created by white liberals to help white liberals maintain their white supremacy. Because white liberals are the most racist, if you didn't know that. But, so it's funny how that works. Colin Kaepernick stands up, says what he believes in, even though it's unpopular, he gets a Nike deal. Kyrie Irving stands up for what he believes in, stands up against the bully cult of scientism, and sits there on stage, shrugging his shoulders, apologizing for having a different opinion. Okay, the modern cult of scientism, you might call it the skeptic community. What a fucking joke, the skeptic community. Some moron idiot did a video about me the other day. What's his name? Armored Skeptic. Stupid. I'm gonna get into the skeptic movement in a moment. You just hang on. You just hold your horses.
And at the time, it was like, you're like innocent in it, but you realize the effect of power of voice. And even if you believe in that, it's like, but don't come out and say that stuff. That's for intimate conversations because reception, when I receive, it changes. Like, no, I'm actually a smart ass individual. Like, no, it's just, yeah. So it's not.
Let's play that again.
And at the time, it was like, you're like innocent in it, but you realize the effect of power of voice.
You realize the effect and the power of voice. quick super chat shout out. Awaken Mind, $20 super chat. I don't believe you left any comments. You didn't. Thank you so much. Appreciate the hell out of that. Let's keep going here.
Even if you believe in that, it's like, just, but don't come out and say that stuff. That's for intimate conversations because perception, what I perceive.
So he said, even if I believe, even if I believe that the earth might be flat or that what we've been taught about the globe might have its certain flaws, I should shut up about it because, my voice has an impact and it should be left for intimate conversations. So that's funny. That's funny how that works. So when it comes to intimate conversations, you can talk about flat earth. So it's almost like Kyrie Irving has basically kind of indirectly admitted that, yeah, it's technically I should have my opinion, and I won't say it publicly, but I'm still going to keep it for the private conversations, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Come on, we all know it's ridiculous.
It changes, like, I'm actually a smart ass individual. Like, it's just like, so it's not like, I was come out and saying that, so it's like at the time, just didn't realize the effect. And I was definitely at that time, like, I'm a big conspiracy theorist, right? Tell me anything, right? So, I'm sorry about all that, bro. Science teachers, everybody coming up to me like, I gotta reteach my whole curriculum. I'm sorry. I apologize. It just changes, like, I'm actually a smart ass individual. Like, it's just like, so it's not like, I was coming out and saying that, so it's like at the time, just didn't realize the effect. And I was definitely at that time, like, I'm a big conspiracy theorist, right? Tell me anything. So, I'm sorry.
So here he apologizes. Here Kyrie Irving apologizes to the science teachers and all the other people who came up with him. It's crazy. Listen.
All that, bro. Science teachers, everybody coming up to me like, I gotta reteach my whole curriculum. I'm sorry.
So now we get to it. Now we get to it. You guys have heard of the skeptic community, right? The biggest controlled opposition nonsense in the world. Listen, the skeptics, the people who go around and just eagerly call themselves skeptics. I did it sarcastically the other day in a video. The skeptic community, whatever the hell you want to call it, they are the controlled opposition of intellectual curiosity. Skeptics are the controlled opposition of intellectual curiosity. If you're truly an intellectually curious person, you can't be allowed to keep thinking. You can't. It's not good. It's not good for the powers that be. That's right. So the skeptics are the controlled opposition. They are people who wrap themselves in the label of skepticism. Go around, they always have it in the name of their channel or their name or their bio or the name. I'm a skeptic. It's a joke. You guys are just consensus cult enforcers. That's what their job is. Anything that is not the currently agreed upon consensus is simply ridiculed, mocked, and dismissed as the default and never even looked into. They might be skeptical of a fringe new theory, but they're not skeptical at all of the current mainstream consensus that they accept without question. So, this is what it comes down to. And poor Kyrie Irving says he was getting hounded by public school. Well, he didn't say public school, but he said science teachers. Imagine that. Imagine science teachers of the scientific method. Teachers who are supposed to plant a seed of curiosity and inquiry in the minds of their students are going out there and complaining, Kyrie, my students are asking me what shape the earth is, and I have no fucking response because this semester's curriculum doesn't include, I wasn't handed out, the Department of Education didn't hand down to me a curriculum this semester. on what the shape of the earth is and how we know. Because a lot of teachers are just handed what they teach from the Department of Education. It's just handed down to them. And then they literally cram it down the poor kids' heads and say, take this test, Johnny. Take this test. Memorize, regurgitate. Is it about true intellectual curiosity? Is it about truly asking questions and figuring out the nature of the world? Or is it just about chasing letter grades? Well, we all know the answer to that. It's not rocket science. Private attorney asked me to go to one of the most detailed ISS tours video. I actually did watch that like a year ago or something. And I was sitting there scratching my head. I'm like, damn, if this is fake, this is one hell of a fakery. Because it's convincing. It's like 30 minutes with almost no cuts of just this astronomer guy in the International Space Station floating around in alleged zero-G, giving a freaking tour of the entire ISS. How they use the toilets, how they eat, where they sleep, you know? And it's compelling. I'm not going to pretend. Yeah, private attorney says they show Earth in the video. I mean, that doesn't... Honestly, the fact that they showed Earth and it looked spherical through a window, that's not even the most compelling part to me. The most compelling part to me is 30 minutes uncut, mostly uncut, tour of the ISS. Like, that's like, whoa. I mean, if that's fake, that's some high production value right there. So I don't know. The point is, let me not get too off topic, is that Kyrie Irving unfortunately had science teachers and other people hounding him for even putting a seed of doubt into the minds of people. And I think it's sad. And you know, these science cult members, because I support science, but the thing is that there's people who claim to support science and they're just enforcers of the intellectual status quo, aka consensus. You've heard me say it a million times. But these people will make it seem like they're the victims. Oh, but science, and you can't, you're misinforming the children. It's bullshit, bro. You should want to teach kids to think and question critically. You should want that. But when you're just trying to teach them, 2 + 2 = 4, so that you can get, your pay raise at the end of the year, because you were a good teacher, and all your students got great letter grades because you're a great teacher, you're not interested. You're not interested in the truth. You're just interested in keeping your job. I mean, let's be real here. If you're a teacher in the mainstream education system, and you come out and say, you don't even have to say the earth is flat. You can just come out and say, I'm not sure if the earth is a sphere. I'm actually, maybe there's a couple gaps in our theories. You're losing your job. You're losing your job. Let's be real here. And how many people are willing to lose their job? Look, I don't blame them. But, So there are status quo enforcers. I want to once again apologize for the YouTube censorship. If I did this live stream on BitChute, once they get live streaming features, I'll probably have it's just the sense. Look, Susan Wojcicki is not literally. She's figuratively throttling my neck, strangling me here with the censorship. Thankfully, the Trump administration, through the Justice Department, probably going to sue the hell out of big tech. So the floodgates will be released soon. All right, let's get back into this. So Kyrie Irving apologizes to the, quote, science teachers, apologizes to the people who were a bit agitated because they actually had to understand why they believe they live on a globe. Let's go back.
I'm sorry about all that,
I have to reteach my own curriculum. Could you imagine trying to bully Kyrie Irving into shutting up about flat Earth because a couple science teachers had to reteach the very subject that they get paid to teach? Could you imagine that shit? That's funny, bro. That's some funny ass shit. And oh, God forbid you actually have to teach your kids why science believes we live on a globe, as opposed to just setting a globe on the desk and having it spinning and entrancing and hypnotizing students from an early age, 4 years old, 5 years old, totally in a damn trance. God forbid you gotta teach them why you believe we live on a globe, as opposed to just hypnotizing them with that spinning globe on the desk from an early age. It's pathetic. It really is pathetic. And thank God for the internet. Thank God for the YouTube rabbit holes that Kyrie Irving says he got sucked into watching all those conspiracy videos. So that is the end of the clip.
I apologize.
I apologize.
I apologize. I apologize. I apologize.
No, 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 no. No, 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 Kyrie Irving, you shouldn't apologize, man. I understand that Kyrie has a lot of pressure. You know, he has a lot of kids looking up to him, and he's gonna have a lot of science teachers chewing his ass out, and I get it. But you know, this is one of the reasons I like Trump. You know, I know a lot of flat earthers think Trump is just part of a hoax play. It's all just a scam and a scheme. I get it. But, you know, if there's one thing Trump is doing, I mean, whether it's planned or not, or it's part of this Illuminati scheme or not, this one thing that Trump is doing, man, I mean, political correctness has been shattered. And political correctness isn't just politics. It's also science. Like, I mean, because the thing is, science has been hijacked by politics, in truth. That's why you have the whole climate change hoax. It's a hoax. Everyone knows it. That's why you have, you know, flat Earth. You're not allowed. Kyrie Irving has to come out and apologize for questioning. You know, actually having an opinion. It's because the cult of politics has hijacked science. Politics has hijacked science, and you know, I'm gonna have to pull it out because it's relevant. You know, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. You know, there it is right there. I mean, Trump 2020, you know, finally someone with balls. Finally someone with balls. Yeah, okay, it's a shirt plug. Yeah, okay, it's a t-shirt plug. Okay, we get it. Cut me some slack here, bro. There it is, Trump 2020, finally someone with balls. But again, the point here, the point, links to those shirts are right down there in the description. Well, they're not there live, but I'll put it in after the show. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. The links to the shirts are right down below. You can get one up for yourself. I'll have it up after the show, after the live stream's done. But yeah, I mean, politics has been, science has been hijacked by politics. And that's the problem here. You're not allowed to question anything. You're not allowed to question anything. And, you know, Wilson 1 says people really think Earth is flat. That's crazy. No, man, I always say it. What's crazy is believing in the globe with no evidence because your first grade teacher told you, man. That's crazy. That's called a blind religious cult, man. Come on. You got to become a skeptic. Maybe one day you'll become a skeptic, man. And I'm really rooting for you, man. I'm really rooting for you that one day you're going to become a skeptic and you're going to start actually asking questions and being a skeptic. So yeah. So we had some moron YouTuber, Armored Skeptic, attempted to debunk one of my videos, including my beloved lighthouse experiment. I really didn't watch most of the video because there's really not much to listen to when a skeptic is basically just saying, but everyone disagrees with you. The mainstream science disagrees. Like, like we got to elevate the quality of our intellectual discourse above, but peer review disagrees. All my buddies disagree. Most people disagree. you gotta elevate the intellectual discourse. But yeah, the dumb fool, the dumb fucking fool, so-called skeptic, tried to debunk my lighthouse observations from last December. And let's just say this. If his debunking of my lighthouse observations from last year are true, then what I saw this year, just last week when I was out there with the P1000, it utterly obliterates his theory. So it's funny. Skeptics debunking themselves. Feels great. Feels fucking great. But like I was saying earlier, the skeptics, the so-called skeptics, they are just the controlled opposition of intellectual curiosity. That's what they are. They're the controlled opposition of intellectual curiosity. True skeptics are people who actually question everything. Not people who just blindly follow what the current mainstream opinion is. So it's ridiculous. Oh, man. So, anyway, so that's Kyrie Irving. And, I think somebody in the chat says, it's not because your teacher says so. I'm not sure if you're with the globe side or the flat side. DITRH, which I believe is deep inside the rabbit hole. I think he's a YouTuber as well. I'm not sure if I've seen too many of your videos though, but I think you make good videos. So everybody watching, go check out Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole YouTube channel. Believing the globe is a religion? Well, it is. Anyway, so it's not because your teacher says so. Oh yeah, well some people actually look into the science behind the globe. They're actually, informed on why we believe it's a globe. But the point is that probably 95 or plus % of people who believe they live on a globe have no idea why and only believe it because their first grade teacher said. So look, I'm sick and tired of the so-called skeptics claiming they're skeptics even though they blindly regurgitate and push what is just current mainstream consensus. My buddies in the peer review said it's true, so it must be. That's what qualifies as skepticism. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So, what time is it? What time is it, bro? It's 9 a.m. Yeah, fuck off. Well, listen, I want to say thanks to everybody who tuned in today. I want to thank you for everyone who made it through the YouTube censorship matrix. I appreciate it. Once BitChute gets live streaming, I'll probably have, even though I have like an infinitesimal little fraction of the subscribers I have on my main channel, I'll probably get more live views on BitChute than I would here. It's just, it's what happens. But, we roll with the punches and the censorship strangling. But anyways, before I let y'all go, we got somebody here to tag me. I believe in the globe because of science. Not sure about the specifics, but the whole Earth core, gravitational pull around the core, etc. What evidence is there? Look, shout out to the Flat Earth Debate crew. Shout out to Nathan Oakley. What evidence do you have for a molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth? So you believe in the Earth's core, gravitational pull around the core, etc. Oh, what proof do you have? What proof do you have of this core? I mean, other than little drawings in your public school textbooks. Anyways, I want to plug real quick. The Earth is cat. All right, you may be a glober, you may be a flat person, but we can all agree that the Earth is cat. I mean, this is not even a question, okay? It's not even a question. Cats are taking over. We all know this, though. We all know that cats are taking over. We know that they, if you've ever seen a cat like meditating, you ever seen them meditate where they sit there in utter silence, they have a good posture, and they just stare forward and with their eyes closed, and they just sit there. They're not sleeping. They're meditating. They're contemplating taking over the galaxy. Cats, the cats rule the world. So you may not know if it's a globe, you may not know if it's flat, but you absolutely know that the Earth is cat. So I'll put a link. I'll put a link to those in the description as well. Let me see if this person responded. So if you get sick, you go to a witch doctor? I mean, what are you talking about? That's so irrelevant. Huckster says, flat earth tard, explain why the stars rotate in different directions from each pole. Is that what they do? I heard someone the other day say that stars rise in the east and set in the west, or they move from east to west, or I forget which direction, and it moves in that direction no matter where you are on the sphere. So I think that like blows a hole in your argument or something. I don't know. That's a good question. Why do stars rotate in different directions from each pole? Is that what you said from each pole? That's a good question. I don't know. And you know what, man? It's okay to not know. It's okay to not know. But when you don't know something, it's also okay to not just blindly believe whatever the current consensus is, which is what the skeptic pro-science crowd does. You default to the consensus status quo. That's your default. You don't say, gee, I don't know shit about how the stars rotate and this and that. And then you just go straight to the reality of government-funded science, be it NASA or other institutions. You go straight to these sources to get your answer, and you don't question anything about it. You can't claim that you're a skeptic when you just, when you don't even consider the role that money plays in studies and research. And I know you guys will claim, oh yeah, we do consider, we do take into account, Yeah, but at the end, if it's pure, as long as it's peer reviewed and it's the current mainstream consensus, that's what you guys go with. I've noticed it over and over again. You guys rarely ever go with something that's controversial or fringe. And by fringe, it just means it's not the current mainstream. Okay? Newton's theory of gravity was fringe when it fucking first came out. Okay? Einstein's ideas were fringe and met with resistance when it first came out. So you can't just go to Google and type in how the stars go from the rotate with the poles, and then Wikipedia comes up, and then you just read that answer and think you're a skeptic and think you're a researcher now. Okay? You can't. You can't. So I don't know if that describes you, friend, but I know it's a lot of people. And the truth is, I don't know. I don't know shit about the stars and the rotating and the poles. I guarantee you someone does. But I do know that last December, I took a pair of binoculars out, and I could see pretty much the entire fucking lighthouse and the trees around the base, even though they're supposed to be hidden by 70 feet, and yeah. So I know that, and I know that there's a lot of inconsistencies. And I think at this point, to pretend that there's no debate between globe and flat, to pretend that it's all settled and we figured it all out, there's nothing weird going on, there's nothing left to explain in this debate, I think that's disingenuous. Hangnail Truth says, what's up, bro? Stars are fixed. They will never cross each other. Huckster 699, stars rotate. Looks like he's clinging. Huckster is clinging to this one because I don't know the answer to it. I don't know the answer to it. I'm pretty sure there's some people who do. And if I asked you, why could I see a lighthouse from 13.8 miles away that was hidden, that's supposed to be hidden by 77 feet of curvature, yet I could even see little trees around the base of it, you're just going to say, refraction. Okay? So please provide me a better answer than such nonsense. Um, anyways, Huckster's a troll. Huckster's a troll. Hangnail Truth, what's up, bro? Danielle asks, do you do these every morning, or are you talking about the Zoom tests with the P1000? I do need to go out there and do them like every day. And I'm going to be doing them probably once a week in different temperature to see what the results vary. Because I got some crazy results when I went out there last week. I'm sorry for the delay. I'm working on the actual edited video. It's going to be very in depth. Let's just say that. It's going to be very fucking in depth. Because the result, what we saw with the P1000 was pretty crazy. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was pretty crazy. Here we have a fake skeptic loser, Huckster. You didn't include the height of the land in your lighthouse calculations, dumbass. Are you one of those fake skeptic fucking losers who came here from that armored skeptic YouTuber dumb video? Are you one of those? It sounds like you're regurgitating that argument. You didn't include the height of the land. Oh, you mean the height above the tide? The height above sea level of the lighthouse? Really? You think that even if that number is way off, 77 feet of the lighthouse is supposed to be hidden, bro? 77 feet. Little trees, bro. Little 30-foot tall trees around the base of the lighthouse are visible, man. You guys are grasping at straws. You guys are so desperate. And you're going to be in for a shocker. And so is little armored skeptic over there. He's going to be in for a shocker. When I show the results of the new P1000 experiment, totally different results. Totally different results. So you're going to be surprised. So you're going to have to concoct the whole new ad hoc explanation, brah. Huckster says that I'm mad. You're the one like frantically typing messages every half minute. I mean, Jesus. The real world says, what is the foundation with the P1000? Sorry, what is the fascination with the P1000? Ever heard of a telescope? Yeah, I've heard of telescopes. I don't know if one is necessarily better than the other. I mean, I'm sure there's some that are more powerful. There is a certain utility and convenience factor to the P1000. I mean, the fact that it is so portable compared to a telescope. It's pretty powerful. I have to say, it's fucking powerful. It's more powerful than the telescope that my older brother had. Yeah, so we have a fake skeptic loser, Huckster699, fake skeptic loser, little angry little twat. You don't support the current consensus. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna attack you. It's a fake skeptics, man. We got Hangnail Truth says, been watching you since way before you got into this topic. I had waited patiently to see if you would just dismiss it or look into it. Glad you did. Hey, thanks a lot, Hangnail. Appreciate that. We have an angry skeptic. Skeptics want you to join their cult. You didn't know that, guys? Atheism, skepticism is a cult. Hey, guys, newsflash. If you're like one of those atheist skeptics, you're actually part of a cult. It's fucking creepy. It's the most creepy religious cult I've ever seen. It's a cult, man. It's a cult. And it's a cult that, it's mob rule. The atheist skeptic cult is a mob rule cult. And basically how it works is you have to agree with what the current mainstream consensus is. And if anybody steps out of that intellectual consensus, that status quo, steps out of line, you get ousted from the atheist consensus skeptic cult. It's great. It's so funny to see it, dude. You have to witness it. And these are the people who claim they're really smart, and it's literally the opposite of science. Like, science is supposed to be questioning and questioning and reassessing. And yet all these idiot atheist skeptics do is regurgitate the current consensus. They don't even think for themselves. Like I said earlier, the atheist skeptic community is just the controlled opposition of intellectual curiosity. True intellectual curiosity cannot be allowed to just flourish freely. So you got to have the controlled opposition, the people who wrap themselves eagerly in the skeptic banner. They always have the word skeptic in their name. They're always, I'm a skeptic, I'm a skeptic. And they're just desperately trying to tell you that they're skeptics. And it turns out that it's bullshit, because if you were a skeptic, you wouldn't just blindly follow whatever the current scientific consensus, majority opinion, mob rule trend happens to be. It's funny, man, when certified smart man Elon Musk came out and said we might live in a simulation, he validated this pretty wild theory, at least wild from our physicalist brainwashing. He validated this wild theory that maybe everything we think about our reality is wrong, and physical matter is not as physical as we think it is. Elon Musk, certified smart man, validated that theory for the atheist skeptic cult members. And then they suddenly felt confident. Now you'll even hear the atheist skeptics come out, and they'll be talking about simulation theory. Now it's cool, because certified smart man Elon Musk came out and said we might live in a simulation. So now the skeptics who only follow mainstream consensus and majority opinion, now they feel safe to come out and be like, well, certified smart man said it's a simulation, so now we'll start discussing simulation theories, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you guys are not interested in trailblazing. You guys are not interested in coming up with new theories. Go read Thomas Kuhn's book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. It lays it all out in exquisite detail, the fact that science throughout history always goes through what he coined as paradigm shifts. And this is when what we once thought was true turns out to be wrong, thanks to science. Science is sort of a recycling mechanism. It gets rid of the old and gets in the new and the good and the true. And the problem with these atheist skeptics is that they just are interested in regurgitating the current intellectual consensus. If it's what the majority believe now, then that's what's true. And if you suggest anything else, you're a fringed nut job. And we understand that you are intellectual cowards. We understand that you hide in the mob. You hide in the crowd. And you'll never step forward and say something bold and different and potentially paradigm shifting. We understand this. We understand. We actually understand. We get it. We understand. And that's why I no longer take atheist skeptics seriously. Despite the veneer of just incredible intellect that they claim to have, they're so smart. They are not trailblazers. They are not interested in progress and moving things forward. They are literally enforcers of the intellectual status quo. They are literally here to make sure that no one comes in and questions what's currently the consensus. That's what they're here for. It's sad. It's really sad. But so when you realize that you're dealing with people who are just morons, who can't think for themselves, and thus are only interested in regurgitation, you realize that you shouldn't even take them seriously, that they're literally bottom of the barrel stupid. Bottom of the barrel stupid. Bottom of the barrel stupid. And so you just realize it's time to stop taking them seriously. Like Sam Harris, the guy is such an outdated fossil. He's such an outdated dinosaur. It's because atheist skeptics aren't really revolutionaries. They're not really trailblazers. Unfortunately, they're just not. Maybe Christopher Hitchens, who at least was politically incorrect a lot of times, maybe he would be more of a trailblazer. But the rest is just a bunch of PC establishment shills, man. PC establishment shills. So that's the truth. Yeah, man, just fix my hair a little bit there. But anyways, Huckster is triggered because I exposed the entire psychology of the skeptic, and he's really triggered right now. Look at him go. He's firing off down there. But listen, we see you, man. You're bottom of the barrel stupid. You lack so much confidence in your intellectual skills that's exactly why you worship what the current mainstream consensus is. Because you know you're too stupid. You know you're too stupid to actually think for yourself and come up with a new theory that revises the old ones, a paradigm shift. As Thomas Kuhn in his book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, describes in exquisite detail. You should go read that book. You might learn a thing about science. You're so dumb. You're so bottom of the barrel stupid that you know that you have to hide amongst the intellectual consensus, the mob of the majority. Because you know that if you ever spoke your mind and said something original, you know you'd sound like a complete fucking retard. So you hide amongst the consensus, you hide amongst the mob, and that's where you get your comfort and your security, because you know that you're literally bottom of the barrel stupid. And Huckster isn't even trying to refute what I'm saying at this point because he knows I've decimated it. But again, Huckster, look, man, here's some recommended reading for you. I recommend you go check this book out. It's called Thomas Kuhn. It's by Thomas Kuhn. It's called The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. You really got to go check it out, man. It's really going to help you learn a little bit about science. It's going to help you learn a little bit about sort of like the history of like science and kind of like why we all have to kind of stand up and support science. And like I don't know if like you support science, but like we all have to stand up and support science. And you know what Thomas Kuhn writes in his book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions? What he really actually says is that it turns out that the history of science is actually full of paradigm shifts. What we once thought was true gets thrown away for more revised and accurate theories and explanations. And that's because, bro, science actually is a method for zeroing in on truth. Certain type of truth, cause and effect relationships. But that's where it is. And that's what it comes down to. And, not everyone's a fan of that. But again, recommended reading, go read The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. It will really help educate you, really help get you educated on science. And maybe you'll learn a little bit more about skepticism. Because the same thing that caused those old paradigms to get thrown away, it was skepticism. Skepticism is exactly what causes paradigm shifts. Skepticism of the current paradigm is what causes the old paradigms in science to get thrown out for the new one. So if you were truly a skeptic, you should be chomping at the bits to see where any holes in the current paradigm and the current consensus are. But you won't do that because you're bottom of the barrel stupid and you hide amongst the mob to get security. We know. And that's okay. Understand that you're literally a fucking retard, and that's okay. We're not here to talk to the morons. We're here to trailblaze. We're here to have paradigm shifts. The real world says, why are you using this communication device if you hate science? Do you think that every invention was created by an atheist physicalist? You fucking retard. You utter moron. I mean, seriously. Really? Look, how about Robert Lanza? PhD Robert Lanza. Robert Lanza was one of the pioneers in stem cell research. And he actually had to come out and write a book called Biocentrism, which suggests a massive paradigm shift in what we currently understand about the nature of reality. Robert Lanza, PhD, pioneer in stem cell research, wrote the book Biocentrism. And the book is scathing. The book, hey, the real world, you right there in the chat, listen. Robert Lanza's a PhD. Do you have a PhD? Look, we got to play the skeptics game. Listen, man, if he out PhD'd you, then you can't really talk the real world. The real world, do you have a PhD? Because if not, you need to shut up and let the PhD Robert Lanza speak. Okay? Real world, we're gonna wait for your response. The real world, do you have a PhD? And if you don't, you need to shut up. And we gotta let Robert Lanza, PhD, because he's actually educated. You had to listen to him. So we're gonna find out if the real world is educated or not. We gotta find out if he's actually educated. He might not respond. I don't know if the real. Okay, you know what? Let's just assume that the real world doesn't have a PhD. Okay, we're gonna assume that the real world doesn't have a PhD. Robert Lanza, PhD, pioneer in stem cell research, wrote a book called Biocentrism, where he has to. It's a treatise. It's an exquisite treatise. In the cult. Some call it scientism. I don't really like the word. It's really atheist physicalism. Just the stem cell research pioneer, PhD, had to write a scathing rebuke of mainstream consensus worship, and he's a PhD. The real what's his name? The real world. What's his name? The real world. I don't see your response. Do you have a PhD or? Maybe he doesn't have a PhD. Listen, I got low battery. I got like 5% left. I got to get going. But listen, thanks for everybody tuning in. Thanks for everybody who made it through the censorship matrix. Really apologize. Really appreciate it. I think once BitChute gets live streaming, it'll be over then. But I want to say thanks for everybody who tuned in. The real world never responded. I guess he doesn't have a PhD. Really not surprising. We got Valerie Oruela. Okay, this is getting mindless and insulting. I'm getting bored. Then get the fuck out, girl. Jesus. Anyways, I just want to say thank you to everybody who made it through the censorship matrix. And that's it. Huckster is still crapping his pants. Crapping his pants in the chat. Literally crapping his pants. Embarrassing. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Links to Trump shirts are going to be below. Valerie says audio, that's the plan. Okay, she's still here though. Masochism. Not masochism. What's that word? Not masochism. Whatever. Maybe it is masochism. There's another word for it though. Anyways, good for you. Okay. The real world finally responded. Why should I have one? Well, I'm running out of batteries here, but the reason the real world is that you don't have a PhD. Robert Lanza has a PhD, and he says that you're full of shit. Robert Lanza has a PhD, and he says that consciousness may very well give rise to physical reality. Consciousness is more fundamental. He's a stem cell research pioneer. Robert Lanza, stem cell research pioneer, PhD, wrote the book Biocentrism. He basically said that mainstream science is a cult of consensus worshipping losers who are afraid to have any new theories about the nature of reality. And, stem cell research pioneer, PhD, Robert Lanza, I got 5% battery left. Hopefully I'll finish this off. He basically says, modern science is a cult of pseudo-intellectuals, pseudo-skeptics, and that consciousness might give rise to reality. So go read up Biocentrism by Robert Lanza. I'll put a link down below. Anyways, thank you guys. Take care.